I'm a recovering addict named Nick.
Hey, Nick.
Share a little bit about my journey. I grew up the oldest of 6 kids, abusive household. I was told to lead by example, which I'd get in trouble. I'd come home from school and I'd be in trouble because my little brothers did something at school. You know, I got retaliated against. And I was never given anything. Anything I wanted, I had to get. You know, we were poor growing up. And I always thought, get it any way you can. Not to steal, not to lie. And we were always forced to go to church. So that was mom and dad's free time on the weekend. So if we didn't go to church on Sunday, you're grounded all week till you get back to church. So that started my first resentments towards God. And I fell towards my grandmother. She was also true. And she's the one that got me choked up. But she was also true. She was into nature. She believed in the same concepts, but everything had its own spirit. Everything was its own spirit. You know, that peace and serenity you feel in nature was a spirit different from what you feel when you're laying in the sun, you know, and you feel that connection to the sun, you know, as you do in everybody. There wasn't a concept of, you know, the 3 in 1, the Holy Trinity. You know, everything was separate, everything was different, but it was the same concept. And she was always speaking of the gods, multiple. Until her last time I seen her, she told me she's going to see God. And it never hit me till years later. And my grandpa explained everything to me. But you know, that threw me in a lost concept of, you know, what God was. You know, I wasn't the God of the church, you know, because I didn't feel nothing in the church as a kid because I held that resentment. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be with my family. You know, my brothers and sisters out in the woods or wherever, not, you know, sitting in church on Sunday morning. But, you know, and then I was forced to go. And I got out on my own and I met my first wife. And she was the assistant director of First Baptist Academy, First Baptist of Leesburg, the kids daycare there, or the kid preschool. But we got real active in the church physically. You know, we're there 4 or 5 days a week. Men's groups, helping with the kids. You know, I taught Dave Ramsey financial freedom class. Every other weekend we were out doing some kind of men's group. I was very physically active in church, but there was no spiritual connection. Which, once we got married and our relationship went downhill, you know, I prayed and prayed and prayed to God, prayed to God, prayed to God. You know, and things got worse and worse and worse. And to me, that set in, you know, that God wasn't there. I've been there for him for the past 7 years. You know, anytime somebody in the church asked for help or needed help, I was right there. I was one of the first ones to give anybody a hand. Now here I am just asking you to help my marriage, and where are you? So that set in the resentments I held till here recently, thanks to Hand in Hand, that, you know, there was no God. There's nobody out there, you know, I was my own God for many years. And, you know, dealing with that anger and aggression from my childhood as my dad, and then spending all this time in the church, you know, I went out after my marriage, you know, lost in the world, and that's when I fell into that disease of more. You know, I needed more money, more fun, and that's what led me, you know, into prison, you know, chasing money, you know, and then of course chasing money, you got to do drugs to keep up with the money, and then of course the money and the drugs bring the girls and the parties, and you know, next thing you know, you're sitting in prison. And I caught, first time I went to prison 40 months, and I learned how to do it better, how to be a better drug dealer, how to be a better fighter, you know. And all that anger and aggression that I had going into the prison system as a, you know, young white male, I gained acceptance by a group of guys, and I felt like I had a purpose. You know, I had a bunch of guys that followed me around. I was leading by example. You know, don't take no crap, don't start no crap, but finish crap. You know, and if you don't like it or you don't want them around, get them gone. You know, and in prison, that's a leader. And I got right out of prison, you know, with this riding this high horse that, you know, I was high and mighty. You know, I found my God in prison. I got into, you know, Oscar True even harder. And I wasn't even out a year and went back for 24 months. You know, I caught 24 months in prison and I learned how to be an even better fighter and little tricks of the trade how not to get caught, which led me up to April 15th of this year, sitting in the county jail. You know, and the public defender, first time he comes and sees me, he says, well, if we take this to trial, you got 65 years, but don't worry, I'll get you down to 12.
Yeah.
I'm sorry? He says, yeah, don't worry, we'll settle for 12. I said, no, you're wasting your time. I mean, I got up and I walked out, and I got on the phone with Samantha. A lot of y'all know her. She's been a godsend. But I was on the phone talking to her, and the kids were visiting their father in Missouri. Patrick, he called in. So she merged the phone calls, and he was so excited to talk to me. Knew I was home, and he was going to be there when I got there, or I was going to be there when he got there. So I said, nope. You know, I'm still in trouble, you know, and I'm probably going to be gone a long time. You know, because I was incarcerated for more of mine and Samantha's relationship that we've been together. And she's definitely a godsend, you know, because I don't know any other woman, I dang sure wouldn't have put up with some of the stuff she's put up, you know, and still be there. And, but that little boy, 9 years old on the phone, he says, that's all right. He says, you know, I've never seen Jesus, and I love him, and he's in my heart. So just know you're right there in my heart. That's what brought me here. You know, because when I got arrested and I went in jail, I knew I couldn't do it. You know, I wasn't meant to be a drug dealer. You know, I was good at fighting. You know, I started a fight club in Leesburg, you know, was part of it. And, you know, we became successful at it. You know, they still fight downtown Leesburg once a month, you know, the Leesburg Opera House. We started out in the backyard. You know, so I thought that's, you know, where I was going to fit in. That's where I was going with things. You know, but Patrick said that, and as soon as he got off the phone, I told her to call Jessica, whose husband was in the program at the time. You know, he's now graduated, but I told her to call her and see about him being in rehab. So I was coming home from work, and we'd seen him backing in the trailer coming from Social Enterprise. I said, James, what's up, bud? He says, I'm in rehab, man. I said, what? You know, Samantha says, he needs rehab. I said, no, I don't, I'm good. Meanwhile, I just got off work, and I'm on the phone trying to hurry up and go do what I wanted to do. And, you know, that set in, you know, because Samantha talked to Jessica, and I found it was a faith-based place, and I said, nope. You know, faith-based means God, and I'm my God. You know, God ain't there for me. There isn't, you know, he's never there for me when I needed him, so why am I going to be there for him? But I ended up calling my lawyer, and my lawyer came and see me, and he said that he already had the arrest affidavits. He was looking at it, and he was going to get with the public defender and see what they could work out. You know, and I told him, you know, they got me dead to the right, driving on suspended. I'll take it to trial, get 5 years if they're wanting prison time. And I'll take 5 years mandatory, that's fine, but I'm not going to plea out to all these other charges. But if they're willing to let me get help instead of going back to prison, then I would plea out to all them charges. So I did, and he told me, he says, all right, well, the state accepts it. He's like, he was waiting on a response from James Wickstead, the director of the program. And He told me it'd probably take a week or two. He'd get a response, get it in front of the state, see what the state said about, the program. And the very next day he shows up, said the state accepted it and that I'd be in front of the judge, in about 14 months. Well, a week later I came through the door hand in hand. And my lawyer was stunned. He didn't know how the court system moved so quick to get me through, how I got there. And that's where my grit started. That was God opening up the doors for me to get the hand in hand. But I still came to hand in hand with that, fake it till I make it attitude. I give it a shot. I know it helped my grandfather for years. A lot of people that were in the church, that were good people. It might do some good, but it's just a year. I can fake it for a year. And just faking it till I make it, getting in there and seeing the people in the program and how it's changed a lot of the people there, and see the progression in people. I thought I was doing good, just faking it, following everybody else. But due to them guys like Darius, some of the other guys, following them to try and figure out how to do it. I'm telling myself I was still faking it. And but building them relationships and that fellowship and working on some spiritual disciplines, with Chris. And I don't mean he was beating on us and we're in trouble, if we don't do spiritual work, but disciplines, practice makes perfect, with our prayer, worship, the fellowship, just, disciplines to become, a godly man, putting grit in your life. And, them relationships helped me understand that I never had integrity. Of course, running the streets, if you don't do it in front of girls or kids, or you're not ripping nobody off, you're leading by example, that to me, that was integrity. And now I realize, I was far off, way off. And, through the spiritual disciplines and learning the true meaning of, integrity and what it is, having that conscious contact with my higher power helps me strive to be an integral man. It compels me to do right. It convicts me when I do wrong. And through that conscious contact, and Chris, helping us with these spiritual disciplines, I found a peace, that I've never known. When I first got in the program, I was arguing with a lot of the guys, getting in their fights and arguments, in and out of Chris's office, James's office, just because I had so much rage and anger towards myself. But I never wanted to admit it. It wasn't me. I liked who I was. It wasn't my problem. It was their problem for this or their problem for that. But it was, I didn't want to accept who I was and where I had been, and I didn't want to accept God. I fought through it. But now, with that conscious contact, instead of getting mad or angry, I'd walk off in prayer, and I've accepted a lot. It's brought me so much peace. The fight club's still going on. Coach still wants me to come and go, and I got so much enjoyment out of it before, and now I don't even feel that desire to want to go be a part of it. All that anger and that rage is just, it's gone. And that's not me. That's God in my life.
Amen.
Building these relationships and this fellowship to help me become a better man. To uphold that integrity. And it's just all due to hand in hand. The promptness of James. Getting in touch with the lawyer. Getting an acceptance letter, and just if it wasn't for that, I'd be sitting in county jail right now. Looking for a quick way to get out. How to manipulate the system to get through quicker. And a 9-year-old boy, had Jesus in his heart, what brought me here. And, I'm just thankful for it. Because if it wasn't for that 9-year-old boy saying that, if it would have been, Sam or anybody else in there, it would have blew right off my shoulder. Because Sam was trying to get me to come to a faith-based program. And I wasn't having it. But the truth is, you know, I become a man that I learned to cherish and love. You know, and grit's just a filter for choices, you know, but it's a way of life. You know, it becomes a way of life. It's a way of life that, you know, I'm grateful for. You know, of course, I'm grateful for all the staff, you know, everything that they do to help us. You know, and it's not just they help us, they lead by example. You know, which is something that was instilled in me as a kid. You know, lead by example. And it's great to see guys like that. You know, the guys just moved on. They don't tell you how to do it, they show you how to do it. You know, and I'm grateful for that. You know, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be out here with everybody. Grateful for everybody to listen. And I'm grateful for everybody that's here to support my recovery, you know, in the program. I'm grateful for everybody listening. Get your song.
Yeah.